In the headlines, flood destroys houses in Patuskum, Yobe State, affects Moanak's Palace. Air mishap averted as Ibom Air passengers evacuated in Lagos airport tarmac. On a foreign scene, airstrikes and rocket attacks push Israel, Gaza into second day of fighting. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update this hour. I am Nten Ekwan. And on the news in full, President Muhammadu Buhari on Saturday condemned the killing of non-indigenous and law enforcement officials by terrorists in the southeast. According to a statement signed by presidential spokesman Garba Shehu, the president vowed to undertake all possible actions in conducting a speedy investigation to bring the perpetrators to justice. Shehu said the president's reaction came amid reports of the slaying of 6 Nigerian citizens and the brutal killing of a number of policemen at their duty posts. 4 police officials were killed in Imo on Saturday after gunmen attacked a police station. The president, in his statement, urged the community and religious leaders to speak more forcefully against the killings. Gunmen on Sunday killed 1 person and injured 2 others during an attack on Shola quarters in Katsina City. The attack came about 2 months after terrorists armed with sophisticated weapons invaded the same community. A resident of the area who confirmed the incident on a telephone call said the bandits stormed the community in the early hours of Sunday at about 1:30 a.m. He said the bandits also abducted a couple during the attack that lasted for over 30 minutes, adding that those injured were rushed to the neighboring Federal Teaching Hospital, Katsina, for medical attention. Shola Quarters is a community located behind the Federal Teaching Hospital, Katsina, and is vulnerable to attack due to its proximity to bandits enclave located around Bugaje community in Jibia local government area of the northwestern state. The Nigerian Defense Academy, the NDA, says it has modified the training curriculum of the academy to include other tactical exercises to tackle security challenges in the country. Director of Military Training of NDA, Brigadier General Emmanuel Emeka, disclosed this on Saturday at the final outdoor field training exercise for 104 cadets of the 69 regular course called Exercise Camp Highland in Jos East local government area of Plateau State. The report.
The Director of Military Training says the modification of the curriculum has become necessary in view of the current security challenges facing the country, adding that the moderation would go help tackle them. According to Brigadier General Emeka, although the training was intended to center on conventional warfare, focus was however shifted to asymmetric warfare due to the current security challenges in the country.
The cadets are here for the second phase of their final exercise before they are commissioned as officers into the Nigerian Army. Because of the contemporary security challenges we are having, the curriculum of cadets training has been modified. Before now, emphasis was on conventional warfare, but due to the security challenges we are having now, the curriculum was modified to take care of asymmetric warfare. This is their final exercise before they are commissioned. And the exercise, the name exercise Camp Highland, is in 4 phases. The first phase we rounded up in Makodi, which was the river crossing operation. And we are here in the second phase, which is the adventure training and leadership training.
Earlier, the commandant of the NDA, Major General Ibrahim Yusuf, while supervising the exercise, charged the cadet to deploy the training experiences in fighting terrorism in the country.
We have not finished the exercise. All you've just gone through is the assault phase, where you went through the obstacles. But this is not the result of the entire exercise Camp Highland. So I thought this should be very clear. But looking at you charging through the obstacles, I want to say that I am highly impressed by your standard, and indeed by your standard of discipline throughout the adventure phase here in Shadow Hills.
Major General Yusuf, however, advised the new intake to be diligent and obedient to their training and expressed satisfaction with the level of the performance of the cadet. From Jos, Ado Musa reporting for Trust TV.
Follow.
And despite restrictions on the use of motorcycles after 10 p.m. by the Katsina state government as part of curbing the worsening insecurity, bandits have intensified attacks in areas close to the city capital. Jamil Mabai reports on the recent attack in the Dansani area where 2 people were killed and 8 people abducted. His report.
With empty and deserted streets, Dansani community is grieving. This community is just a few minutes away from the Katsina city and 5 minutes drive from Babaraga Hospital. Consumed by inconsolable grief, Muhammad Tukur, the community village head, recounts how bandits killed his son.
In
In the afternoon, when he was about to leave for Bakiawa at around 11 a.m. in the morning, I was in my room when I heard the gunshot. A teenage girl came in shouting, "They have taken our father." I came out and saw people crying. "They have shot him." I did not see them, but witnesses told me they were 2 in number. I felt really bad. Later, they returned him back to me. I told them to take him inside.
Despite
intensifying security operations and tightening security, bandits have remained defiant as they continue to launch one attack after another. On arrival at the community, returning women are looking pale and exhausted, while their husbands are grieving amidst hunger. Nobody slept here yesterday. We want to eat food, but because our women did not sleep in the village, we are hungry now. All of us here are hungry.
The
bandit attacked Dansani 3 times within a week. During the Wednesday attack, which is the latest, the attackers were brutal in the early morning raid. They came to his shop while trying to attend to a customer. On arrival, they collected his phone and shot in the air and later shot him. The relative peace enjoyed by areas close to Katsina are no longer safe. Katsina itself, it's no longer safe. I used to camp displaced families in my house, but it has reached a point where I myself had to leave when bandits came to my house. If we, the locals, did not go to farm, we will not have food. You went to farm, they raid you. If you run out of log, they kill you. The road leading to Dansani is surrounded by vast family land. The farms are with no farmers, while discarded fertilizer dot the length and breadth of the area. Jamil Mabai, Trust TV News, Katsina.
The Commissioner of Police in Osun State, Olawole Olokede, has ordered the immediate disbandment of a surveillance squad over unprofessional conduct by its members. The police spokesperson in the state, Yemisi Opalola, made this known in Oshogbo in a statement issued on Sunday. Opalola stated also that the disbandment will serve as a deterrent to other tactical squads, as the command under Olokode will not tolerate or condone any act unbecoming of police officers. In the statement, Olokode enjoined Osun residents to rekindle their trust in the police, saying they were committed to giving the state improved services that will stand the test of time. Now, floods have destroyed several houses and affected the palace of May Potiskum in Potiskum local government area of Yobe State. And it included the monarch's house. And in the aftermath of that incident, the monarch has appealed to the federal government to rescue his people from the perennial incident of flooding. Ibrahim Ismail has that report.
This is how the flood submerged Babut area in Potiskum metropolis after heavy rains that lasted for more than 5 hours. In the Babut area alone, more than 10 houses were destroyed by the flood. As a result, many have been rendered homeless. We ran for our lives. The buildings could have collapsed on us. We lost everything. Lasted for about 5 hours tonight. The water flooded into our houses. We tried to stop it, but we couldn't.
So we have a lot of problem at that night. We even face a lot of problem because there is many houses that have already been destroyed because of that raining that has occurred a day before yesterday night. So please, we need a help of government.
Mayor Angwa Ali Muhammad Shua said the recurrent incidents of floods in the area points to the fact that they have been neglected by the relevant authorities. No agency was here to address the problem. We even requested several times to no avail. The Mai Potiskum said he has made several appeals to the federal government to address the scourge of flooding in the city to no avail.
It causes a lot of damages to buildings, particularly those who have got laterite houses. We submitted elaborate estimate to the federal government requesting for an ecological agency to come to Potiskum to state in. As Potiskum is a metropolis, but it has no drainage. Unlike other places, drainage have been constructed, but here in Potiskum, we lack standard drainages that will minimize the water loss during the rainy season.
Potiskum is the largest commercial city in Yobe State and one of the notable business hubs in northeast Nigeria. Many believe that addressing the flood challenge will boost the economic potentials of the city. From Potiskum in Yobe State, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
The Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, has condemned the 5 million naira fine slammed on Trust Television and other media organizations by the National Broadcasting Commission, the NBC, for airing documentaries that exposed terrorists and their activities. The CDD, in a statement on Saturday by its director, Hidayat Hassan, described the imposition of the fine as obnoxious, oppressive, and suppressive, asking the Commission to withdraw it immediately. According to her, the fine is a reprehensible attempt to gag the media and infringes on citizens' right to free speech and information. Hassan urged the federal government to avoid anything that will threaten the media landscape or infringe on citizens' right to free speech and the right to know, especially as the country approaches the 2023 general elections. And similarly, condemnations have continued to trail the 5 million naira fine imposed on Trust Television by the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, for airing a documentary on banditry. The latest is from the Northern Broadcast Media Owners Association, NBMOA, that expressed deep concern over the fine, which it described as punitive. In a statement by its acting chairman, Abdullahi Yelwa, MBMOA called on the NBC to rescind the decision, saying the fine was not only arbitrary but also a gross violation of the press freedom and the rule of law. It noted that the documentary in question is globally adjudged to be balanced, fair and ethical, even though the NBC deemed it to have glorified banditry and breached national security. The Registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, Ishak Oloyede, has appealed to the Academic Staff Union of Universities to sheathe its sword and come to a truce with the federal government over their ongoing strike. According to the JAMB Registrar, both parties will have to take hard decisions if the issues are to be solved permanently. He made the comments during a tour of some centers in Lagos, where JAMB's MOPUP Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination held. You're watching News Update on Trust Television. Coming up after the break. Government intervention needed. Stay with us. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching News Update on Trust Television. A recap of our major stories. President Buhari condemns killing of non-Nigerians and police officers in Southeast. Flood destroys houses in Potiskum, Yobe State, affects Monarch's Palace. And to more stories now, the lingering scarcity of premium malted spirit, otherwise known as petrol, has continued to bite harder in several parts of Kaduna State as the pump price of the product has continued to rise to as high as 220 naira per litre. Now this comes amid uncertainty about when the scarcity will abate in the northern part of the country. Although the state plays host to the Kaduna Petrochemical and Refining Company KRPC, the lingering scarcity of PMS has continued to unleash untold hardship and suffering for the residents who mostly rely on the product for their daily activities. Most of the filling stations owned by major marketers in the Kaduna State capital are currently out of stock, while the few ones with the product owned by independent marketers are selling above the government-approved pump price of 165 naira. The prices range from 185 to 220 naira per litre, with motorists lamenting the negative impact of arbitrary price increase in their daily lives. A balanced diet that contains the required nutrients is essential for proper growth, optimal performance of the human brain, and maintenance of a good state of health. In this report, Trust TV's Hamid Oyegbade observes that it has become difficult for Nigerians to achieve a balanced diet given the high cost of protein in the country, especially eggs. His report is presented from our studios.
A balanced diet contains an adequate proportion of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins that the body needs to function properly. Meat, fish, and eggs are the major sources of proteins in Nigeria. Nutritionists say an egg has all the nutrients that a human body needs. However, the cost of eggs in recent times has reduced the intake of eggs by Nigerians. Most people are aware of recommendations by nutritionists for individuals to eat 1 egg daily, but most people can no longer afford to buy eggs nowadays. In Osogbo, Osun State capital, 1 crate of egg is between 1,650 naira and 2,000 naira depending on the size. Residents of Osogbo said the high cost of eggs has prevented many from including it in their meals. Dupe Ayodele said with the high cost of eggs in recent times, egg intake has reduced drastically.
Normally, before now, you could get eggs for like 300-400 naira, but now these days you can barely get them at 100 naira per one, and it has really affected the intake because eggs are good for the body, and we can substitute it for meat in our meals.
Sunday Nwabwoku also said the high cost of eggs may escalate malnutrition in the country and appealed to the government to address it.
But because of the cost of egg, many parents cannot afford to give their children 1 egg per day. And we ask, what is the cost? Is it because of the cost of livestock materials? We are appealing to the government that the government should be able to do something to bring down the cost of eggs so that our children will be able to take at least 1 peg. It will be affordable for the parents.
A poultry farmer, Emmanuel Adeyemi, attributed the price increase to the high cost of feed and drugs for the birds.
And when the price of the feed are high, you need something to back it up, which are drugs. And considering the weather that we're having right now, whatever you are using at a point in time must be like they will tell you, some poultry farmers will tell you they're using 1 to 2, that is drugs. They will tell you the quantity of drugs they're using at a point in time was 1 to 2. But if the weather is very harsh now, you need to double it or probably triple it.
The Osun State Nutrition Officer, Rashidat Popula, appealed to housewives to be creative in cooking meals with other alternatives, such as crayfish and dry fish, to make up for egg deficiency.
You know, we all know that all these proteinous foods are being costly now in the market. The fish is costly, eggs too are costly. So the alternative for this is that when we prepare a normal meal, let us look for dried fish and crayfish. All these ones too have protein. This can be blended because of the bones present in the dried fish. When we blend it, we can add it to our diet.
Meanwhile, housewives said the costs of crayfish and dry fish are very high as well.
Government and well-meaning individuals have been called upon to prioritize the development of suburbs in the Federal Capital Territory to give them a sense of belonging. Trust TV's Kabir Lawal in this report takes a look at how water and other social amenities have made residents of Ruga community, one of Abuja's suburbs, to lag behind. The report.
Ruga community is a suburb in the Federal Capital Territory, and the people living in here are predominantly Fulanese. For nearly a decade, the people have been subjected to squalid living conditions as they lack necessities required for a decent life. Their only source of water in this stream, which serves as all purposes ranging from drinking, cooking, among others. Maria Abdulmumin says the absence of social amenity in the community has really affected them.
A sense of belonging until we can make them feel that they're very much a Nigerian like any Hausa, Yoruba, Efik, Borno man is the only way that we can have that, and included to the fact that they are also very, very intelligent. The statistics, we don't even know what the statistics are, official statistics with regards to how many of them, but in this particular community that I speak to you, 95% of them have never been to school. The 15% that have been to school, 88% of them cannot identify their letters or their numbers. So you're talking about an entire community of about 400 that is completely illiterate.
Other well-meaning Nigerians who spoke on the condition of the Ruga community said the children should be given formal education to enable them contribute their quota to the nation building.
In my department, we have various centers, as I've rightly mentioned. We have over 43 functional centers.
This is Ruga community, a suburb
in the Federal Capital Territory, very close to Megishiri, all in the suburbs in Abuja. For over 80 years, people have been here without electricity, access to good water, and even classrooms. And as you can see, people here have been living from hand to mouth. That's to tell you how people have been living here in this community without being connected to the national grid. In Abuja, Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News.
Akwa Ibom State government-owned airline Ibom Air on Saturday had an emergency evacuation of passengers at the tarmac of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. It was gathered that the aircraft with 128 passengers departed Abuja for Lagos at 10:30 a.m. and landed at the international runway in Lagos on schedule at 11:41 a.m. Upon taxiing off the runway, the pilot noticed a malfunction from the wheel, which made the passengers uncomfortable despite assurances from him. Now, reacting swiftly, Ibom Air General Manager Marketing and Communication, Aniekan, a senator, in a statement said the crew opted to turn off into the international cargo apron, from where stairs and buses were positioned to disembark the passengers and take them to the domestic arrival hall. All 128 passengers on board were safely disembarked and transported to the arrival hall at MMA2 while engineers worked on the fault. On the foreign scene, Israel struck in Gaza and Palestinians fired rockets at Israeli cities on Saturday after an Israeli operation against the Islamic Jihad militant group ended more than a year of relative calm along the border. Israel on Friday killed one of the group's senior commanders in a surprise daytime airstrike on a high-rise building in Gaza City, with 2 rocket salvos in response. On Saturday, Israel said it struck Islamic Jihad militants preparing to launch rockets and militant posts. Additional bombings targeted 5 houses, witnesses said, sending huge clouds of smoke and debris into the air as explosions rocked Gaza City. Palestinian militants fired at least 160 rockets across the border, setting off air raid sirens and sending people running to bomb shelters as far as the central city of Modin between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. In sports, Nigeria's Tobi Amusan has won the gold medal in the women's 100 meters hurdles at the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, United Kingdom. The world champion successfully defended her title at the Alexander Stadium on Sunday in the women's 100-meter hurdles final. Amusan was able to run a game record of 12.30 seconds, setting another record as well and becoming the first world champion to win gold and the first Nigerian athlete to do the same. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update this hour on Trust Television. Do join us for more in the coming hours. I am Nten Ekman. Thanks for watching.